Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Drew, and I want to welcome you back to Learn How to See Better. It's the only podcast out there that will improve your vision the longer you listen. Today, what I want to talk about might sound a little bit loosey-goosey on the surface, but if you'll give the idea a chance, I think there's a fair opportunity to say this could play out in the real world. And so I'm talking about being able to manifest the desired outcome. Think of this just conceptually, right? If you could manifest the desired outcome, think about what we think about, we bring about. Now, I know that there's a lot of critics of the book and the DVD called The Secret, right? And I'm not going to tell you what The Secret is if you haven't seen it, so you have to go check that out. But Rhonda Byrne is the author for that. Check that out. And the idea really being so powerful if you can harness the power of the secret. And I'm going to just call it manifesting the desired outcome for the sake of this discussion, because it's a little bit different, and it's really an attitude. It's an approach to life and thinking when you're faced with difficulty. Because the fact of the matter is everyone faces difficulty in their life. They may face difficulty in the people they interact with. They may face difficulty at work or at school. Right? We may find difficulty in achieving personal goals and having certain satisfaction in life. You may find difficulties in business. So there's so many different arenas that you can run into struggles and challenges and situations that you don't know what to do. But in most situations, it doesn't hurt to think with the attitude of, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to win this. The desired outcome is on the way. And guess what? If you're wrong, okay, figure out plan B. But the approach, the attitude, you really want to think with that, because in so many instances, the wrong attitude can throw things off. And I've thought about this in a variety of situations, in personal situations, in business situations where, wow, if I didn't really have the attitude of manifesting the desired outcome and trying to get really what I want from this situation that I'm in, then I could just kind of let things play out and let the chips fall where they may. But then at what point do you really have, you can't really complain about things not shaking out the way you want if you're not really applying that energy. And that energy is going to translate in that action, and then that goes down that path and really builds a snowball effect. But we got to manifest the desired outcome. I was actually thinking about a time I was being interviewed recently with my wife. We were on a podcast and they were talking about real estate investing, right? And our experience with that in business. And, we've done, a good number of transactions over time. And the question was asked, have any two real estate deals been the same? And it's like, my gosh, it's a lot to think of. It's over 100 transactions that we can think of that we've done. And no two transactions have been the same. And so even present day, we still find ourselves running into things like, okay, you might have some detail that didn't get picked up, additional information needed at the last minute, another form, some unexpected detail that wasn't known before that has to be handled, right? So when you think about how the situation can play out, a lot of times it really is as simple as saying, okay, if I look to manifest a desired outcome, that's going to put me into more of that thought process of how can I get through this? If I really don't know, what are some things that could shake out for me? Could someone have a change of heart? Could a disapproval turn into an approval? Could rejection turn to acceptance? You didn't get selected for the award. Oh, we actually reviewed the criteria again, and you actually are the winner. So it might be a variety of different things, but so often when we look at situations that seem intimidating, we can fall back to the mindset of like, man, I don't know how to deal with this. This problem feels bigger than me. It's going to do me in, right? And when we look at those situations for what they are, if it's really just fear around an outcome, right, like a false expectation appearing real, then you have to recognize that and be able to separate the two and have the intelligence to separate the two, right? If we had a situation where we're selling a property and then for whatever reason, the buyer can't get their funds approved. It's like, oh my gosh, what, this is going to cause so many problems, right? You're planning around this thing. It's like, well, is that really what I want here? And if that's not the case, what can I do? Whether it's gather additional information, provide insight, options, creative thinking, strategy sessions to make things work out the way you want. And we found a situation where that actually happens, right? Have you ever had a situation where you had a disagreement with somebody, maybe somebody close to you, maybe a best friend, maybe a spouse, where you didn't see things eye to eye, and you might be upset, you might be aggravated, tensions might be running high, and it's like, wait a minute, before we just take this disagreement to level 10, let's pause and have the emotional intelligence, right? The thought process, the clarity of thought to say, what's the outcome I really want here, right? Can we have a difference of opinion without driving a divide into the relationship, right? Or causing damage to the relationship. And yeah, it might feel good for maybe if you've been insulted, right? Maybe a colleague at work says something that was inappropriate in front of a manager or something like that. And you could cut back really deep with some harsh words because words are weapons. But you elect not to, right? Or you elect to take the high road, and maybe in this situation you remain a little bit more politically correct and let that one pass and bring that up in private so that you don't have an explosive event where one doesn't need to be had, especially if it's just a disagreement or better yet, a misunderstanding, right? So a couple of scenarios there. And it's funny, the way that we learn to think, the way that we learn how to see better usually comes from external viewpoints being brought to our attention. It usually comes from having some challenge with our current philosophy where the world's presenting us evidence saying, I don't know, you keep thinking that way, but the world's doing it like this, right? It's like sometimes in life we can feel like we might deserve things or need things, and you realize that, well, life doesn't really respond to need, it responds to deserve, right? And so as I attempt to enhance my own vision of an outlook on the world, I think of the input I receive. And, I get mentoring and guidance. And one of my mentors recently said to me, you only want to give energy to the outcomes you desire. You only want to give your energy to that. I mean, if you think about it, right? We only have so much energy in a day. And let's just say you're trying to, I don't know, let's say for the sake of example, I use real estate a lot. Let's say you're buying a house. Let's say you're buying a car, right? Let's say you're buying your dream car. That's really fun. And who knows, for the sake of example, let's say that there's only one model made in the world and it's you and one other person bidding on it. And in the sake of this example, you're thinking, man, the tensions are high. I want to be the one to get it. I want to be the one to get it. I want to be the one to get it. Or do you think, oh my gosh, there's a competitor, there's an alternate bidder, I might not be able to get it. I might not be able to get it. What if I don't get it? Right? Those same 10 seconds of putting energy in the world could turn out two different results. And that might seem like an oversimplified scenario, but the idea of if we're going to channel our energy, and if we believe in the concept of, good vibes only, positive vibrations, and the ability to help create our own outcomes, if we can manifest that desired outcome by putting that right and positive thinking into the way we behave, the way we kind of manage some of the decisions and our responses, and have the right attitude that's in sync with the frequency of winning and getting what you want out of your experience in life as general, in your health, with your wealth, with your relationships, right? So I wanted to share some of that because people need to be reminded a lot more often than they need to be instructed. And so it might sound like a no-brainer, manifest the desired outcome and only give energy to the things that you want, or to the outcomes and then the results that you want in life. But how often do we find ourselves in a situation where we might be stressed and we're thinking about what happens? Oh my gosh, this traffic's so thick. I don't want to miss that flight. I don't want to miss that flight. I don't want to miss that flight. And you're so busy looking at the clock and watch the minutes, tick. All of a sudden the stop and go traffic on the freeway, you mess around and rear end somebody. Now you're really going to be in a situation hoping that you don't miss that flight versus trying to keep your eyes open and maybe, you can wave and turn on your blinker and change lanes and get off the freeway and take a different, path to the airport and make your flight on time. So those are just some of those simple scenarios where manifesting the desired outcome can really come into play. And is it a foolproof plan that works all the time? No, but you know what? It's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. And it's better than just kind of the attitude and the complacency of, just that nonchalant attitude of let the chips fall where they may. I believe that if we're really ever wanting to get ourselves in position to get the most out of life, then we have to be willing to take steps that position us to take charge of our life. And we have to be willing to grab the bull by the horns and take charge of our life. And it starts with that attitude, that philosophy, right? The philosophy, the attitude, the activity, the results, the lifestyle, right? So a couple of those were some nuggets I picked up from mentors of mine along the way. But if any of you are finding yourself where you are wrestling with a challenge in your personal or your professional life, maybe you don't know what the fix is to what's in front of you. It's just a moment where the problem appears bigger than you are. And so what can you do to chop that thing down to size? Start to manifest the desired outcome. Maybe you just are manifesting that the problem becomes less daunting, right? You sleep on it one night, you break it down into smaller pieces, and you're able to analyze at least an approach, some ideas, some tactics that you might be able to employ to work through your current challenge. So with that, I'd love to hear from you guys on how you're wrestling with and defeating your challenges, how you're overcoming your challenges in life and in business and in your relationships, because I think that could obviously open up a lot of areas that we could continue discussions around, things where I'd like to be able to share my experiences and be able to provide value that might assist you as you all move through your journeys in life. So there you have it. Until next time, I appreciate you all tuning in. And if you know somebody that needs to hear this, tag that friend. Until next time, we'll see you on Learn How to See Better. It's the only podcast out there that will improve your vision the longer you listen. This is Drew Davis, over and out.